being here, and thank you for your flexibility and understanding with the date change. But as you can tell, the committee is so well oiled. In the blink of an eye, we had a new date, new place, new invitations, and we really appreciate your understanding as we switch venues. And it's really an honor to be up here to introduce Bill. I'm going to do that in just a moment. As part of the Finance Committee, I would be remiss if I didn't say we have an expensive campaign to run. And so you've been very generous by being here this evening. We appreciate that, but if there's a little more you'd like to give, we have donor cards at the front table, and we'd be more than happy to accept a check, credit card, cash, whatever you have. Well, I was asked, let's see, I'll start at the beginning. I heard Bill was running for judge not too long ago. He had shared that with me, and I, of course, said, anything you need me to do, please ask. And why would I do that? Well, probably for the same reasons you are. The Tullys and the Massaros have been friends for many years. Our children went to Holy Name together, best friends. Bill and I have been at school projects together, school events, created History Day projects in our basements, sawing and trolling Home Depot. And through all of that, I've gotten to know a person who is devoted to his family, is devoted to his community, devoted to his faith, and that man of integrity is someone that I'm honored to be able to help in his pursuit for Dauphin County Judge, Court of Common Pleas. And so, of course, I would say, certainly, I'd like to help. Then, as I got active in the campaign and just kind of hung around a little bit, I learned some things. And I learned that, I want to make sure I don't miss anything, Bill was a longtime assistant district attorney who prosecuted dangerous criminals, the first assistant district attorney under then D.A. Lewis. Appointed by Governor Tom Ridge to the Pennsylvania Commission on Sentencing, which reviews the sentencing guidelines used by judges throughout our state. More than 30 years of extensive legal experience in and out of the courtroom involving civil, family, municipal, labor, and FOP law. Served as an adjunct professor at Winder School of Law, instructor for the Pennsylvania Municipal Police Officer Education and Training School at HAC. Of course, active in the community, Notre Dame Club of Harrisburg, charter member of the St. Thomas More Society, past president of the school board of the Holy Name of Jesus School, board of directors for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and on all kinds of committees and fundraising events, and the list goes on and on and on. When I heard this, it left no doubt in my mind that Bill is the best candidate for Dauphin County Judge, and so I ask you to help me welcome him to the microphone and give him all the help and enthusiasm he needs.
Most people tell me I don't really need a microphone because I do have a big mouth. I want to thank Joe and the committee for putting this together. One thing you learn straight out is judicial campaigns are particularly difficult because if you're successful, there's not much you can do politically for anyone afterwards. You're not in a position to do favors, you're not in a position to pass laws. All you can do is your very best to do your job well. And that is to be a fair, impartial, honest, trier of the fact, and minister of justice. And that's really what it's all about. So the campaigns are difficult in that you don't get the traditional contributors, the people that are looking for influence, the ones that want to put forth an agenda. All you can really do is bring out the best civic-minded people, your best friends, your family, all those that you've touched through life. And it is really special to be able to get in front of a group of people and see friends, family, really good friends, and people that are willing just to say, thank you for what you've done and let us help you to that next hurdle. Doing this is not easy. It's a sacrifice that I make with the family. Politics is a difficult road to go. It can be pretty thankless. It has its good sides and it has its ugly sides. My wife grew up in a political family, and I know it was difficult for her to ever acquiesce to a political endeavor ever again. But when the subject came up, that after 30 years of practice, it was time to give back to the profession in the best way that I know how. And that's taking those years of trial experience and instead of being an advocate for individuals or parties, to be an advocate for the community as a whole and for the system as a whole. And I'm really deeply moved by my wife, my family, immediate, my mother-in-law, my parents, all those that are willing to, my special middle daughter, Alex, that have all come forward, and it's a sacrifice in time and effort, and they've all been wonderful, but most importantly, you've been really supportive. I described it when we first had that opening ceremony at our house to announce it, and then in the middle of what appeared to be a blizzard, large numbers of people came out, and I described it as my It's a Wonderful Life experience. And it truly was. It really warmed the heart to realize there was such a good group of people to do that. Today, more than ever, the role of a judge is probably more important than you can imagine. At a time when the ultimate law in our land is our Constitution, it seems to be under siege, both nationally and the state. Instead of honoring it as a work of wisdom by our forefathers, who were brilliant, they treat it as something to get around, something to step over to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Well, the role of the court is the guardian of that Constitution. And what I've mentioned to other groups, and that is every public official, whether they're local, state, national, take an oath of office when they go in. And some variation of the words, it almost always contains the words to basically obey and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I begin to wonder if a lot of public officials actually think about the words they say when they utter them, because so quickly they seem to forget that and go back to trying to dodge it, step it, override it, interpret it to death, instead of what our forefathers had in mind. So if I'm fortunate enough to allow you to help carry me across that finish line, to be that judge, and that time comes to take that oath, and I'm asked to defend and uphold and honor the Constitution, trust me, I'll mean every one of those words, and I'll do you proud. Thank you so much for coming out.
There's still more food. Enjoy.